This is my critical incident family develop presentation. My name is Olliah Holmes. A little bit of background information about myself. I am currently in the program from Educational Leadership. This is my third semester at Immaculata University. I received my bachelor's degree in early grades preparation from Westchester University in 2018. I am a second year teacher and I'm currently teaching in the Reading School District, and I have been teaching third grade for 2 years now. So, some family background information. I come from a two-parent household. My parents have been married since I was a baby, so they are going on 26 years of marriage. They have three children. I have an older brother who is 32 years old, a younger brother who is 23, and I am the middle child, and I am the only girl, and I am 25. Now that I look back at my childhood, I really did not see us as poverty stricken. I, with the research that I have taken now, I realized that we were low socioeconomic status. My parents always had jobs, and our bills were always paid, but there was not much room for overflow while we were younger. So there would be times where bills would be paid, but it might not be in abundance and it might be just enough. I think a key component of my siblings and I not really feeling the effects of that was my parents had great communication with each other. They were a great example of what a healthy relationships looks like and a healthy family dynamics. They made everything work, even when my dad worked different shifts. He would work at a steel company, so sometimes his shifts would be overnight, sometimes they would be during the day. Their communication was great, and growing up, I wouldn't think that we were any different from any other family. Both of my parents were extremely hard workers, and we had a slow rise in economic status. My mother went to nursing school, and during that time, of course, we had to cut back on things, but we didn't, as me and my siblings, we did not feel it. After my mom graduated from nursing school and she was able to get better jobs, it we definitely were had a slow rise in our economic status. And all of that hard work led to building a house. And it was very exciting for me and my siblings and to know that we were building a new house and that I current at that time I shared a room with my younger brother. And when we found out that we were building a house, we knew that we would get our own rooms and we knew that we were going to get to design what the house would look like. And we got to see it being built. We were going to be going to a new school. It was a better neighborhood. So it was a very exciting time for my family. A lot of communication, a lot of talking about what this would look like. I remember a conversation that my father had with us about how we have to be mindful of keeping the lights on and keeping the electricity on because now that we had a bigger house, the bills would be higher. And so I was very mindful of that. And it is something that is important that I definitely took into adulthood now that where I'm like, okay, keep the lights off because the bill could be, reflect that. So once we moved into the new house, my father lost his job suddenly. And during that time, we had one car and he had a company car. And it was interesting to see that he lost that car. I remember the day when they came home. Uh, my mom and my dad came home and they were together. And me and my brother were my younger brother, because my older brother went to college, were very like, why are you guys both here and where's the other car? And they had smiles on their face, which already set the tone that yes, this was serious, but we did not need to worry. And I really do appreciate that. They told us that he lost his job and their communication My parents' communication during that time was extremely critical to the way that in which me and my brother were to react. They told us in a way that we did not feel like we had to worry, so that definitely helped. During that time, there were moments in our house where the lights would be off, and it would be a little bit more of a struggle than we were used to, but we never went without. Even when, if anything, bills, lights would be missed, it wouldn't be long. It was very temporary. It was normally, if the bill was due, past due, it might, the lights would get cut off on a Thursday, and then Friday, a check would be coming in. So we were very grateful. And I attribute a lot of that to my parents' faith. They had a strong belief in God, which sus- sustained them through this hardship. Individually, this impacted me a lot, and I wasn't really fully aware of it until I began to unpack this incident during this project. Um, I was always a very fearful child. So when I heard the news that my dad lost his job, I was very fearful. I immediately thought that we were going to be homeless. I was 9 years old, but I was very aware of the world around me. So it was very scary. I also felt a lot of guilt for wanting things and needing things. I remember, I don't, still to this day, I do not know how my parents did it, but I was having a birthday party, and it was a Build a Bear workshop party, and I got to invite a certain number of friends to go to Build a Bear workshop. And my parents paid for everything. And I remember feeling the birthday party was already planned before the job was lost. And I remember feeling so bad that I was still having the birthday party because I knew that things were hard. And I asked my mom about it, and she said, well, we must have had it somewhere because if we didn't, we wouldn't have done it. And I'm like, I did not understand how. We were very close with family during that time and extended family. They were a big support by letting us borrow the car if we had different events we needed to go to. If I remember a time when the power went when our electricity was cut off, and me and my brother stayed at my aunt's house for the night until it was back on. And those are the moments that I became really close with my cousins because it felt like we were having a random sleepover during the school night. It felt more like fun than it did um, like a punishment, but it was a level of shame, not with my cousins, but this is not something that I shared with my school friends. But it did, the fear of job loss is something that is very prevalent in my adult life right now. I never realized it, but I am afraid of losing my job because it happened so suddenly to my father. And I see how that affects the way I move. So in education, um, I currently receive walkthrough observations, formal observations, and the goal of those is to find areas that I can improve in because I realize that success and being a successful teacher is a journey and not a destination. And I'm not expected to know everything, but this is something that I've had to have countless talks with my principals about because if I receive negative feedback on, not e- negative is not the right word. If I receive, improvements on a walkthrough observation, a, a, I fear that I'm going to lose my job, and I internalize that and I freak out. And that way it looks like I am very afraid. I shut down, start to doubt myself, and then I'm not being the best teacher. So I see how this job loss has carried over into my adult life and has changed the way that I look at the world, knowing that feedback doesn't mean that I will be terminated from my job. There are limited research on the effects job loss has on children. A lot of the research talks about the effects that it has on children's education. So, if parents lose their job, their children are most likely to be affected in their education. So, there's more likely to be failing in school involved, retention, backlash in their actions. We were very fortunate that me and my brother did not experience that in our education because of the support that our family had. So it was so important that our family was close and that we had support and that conversations were had. Um, it also talked about how there's normally not, it reflects the ability that the chance that the child will have a lower salary. And me and my brother actually are breaking barriers in our family. We are both first generation college grads and my brother graduates, and my brother is currently about to graduate with his master's degree in May, and I am pursuing my master's degree. And so we are both um, beating the odds in the research, which is really something that we are blessed to be able to do. And I do not think it would be possible without my parents' support, their communication, their guidance, and their love, the foundation that they set for our family from the beginning. Even when we moved and my dad told us that we had to work together and it was part of our responsibility. And it wasn't like he put too much responsibility, but he told us, we had the responsibility of making sure we turn our TVs off, our lights off. That communication and guideline really set the tone for the job loss and for us to be able to bounce back. Now, looking back, after that, my father was able to find a job that was lower paying, and he worked his way up, and now they are at a place where they are better than before, and they have worked their way out of low socioeconomic status. And it has been wonderful to watch. The resiliency that my dad has shown has been inspirational, and the support that my mom shows my dad is something that I admire and that I know I will take into my own family. Here is a picture of my family. This is my father. This is my mom. This is my older brother, even though he's the shortest. That is myself, and that is my younger brother, and he is the tallest. Here are my works cited. Thank you for watching my presentation. I apologize for my stutteriness, a little bit nervous, but we got through it. Yay!